Greetings and welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host, Marlon Taylor, aka Mayhem, with none other than my esteemed colleague, JD, aka JD.
Hello, everybody.
Top of morning to you. Oh, we got a berry drink from
Top of the
Starbucks this
world.
morning. Top of the world to you, my friend.
I got the same old thing. Same old thing.
Same old thing, different day. How you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. No hurricanes in your neighborhood, right, today?
We have an absolutely magnificent day.
Good.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Good. We are back in the saddle here in Seattle, as you know.
Oh, you have nice weather as well, right?
62 degrees currently, partly cloudy. Perfect.
Nice.
I know people hate when I brag about that, but I can't help it. Can't help it. How we doing, man? What are we talking about today? What third rail?
Oh my God. You know, I was thinking about third rails on top of third rails on top of third rails.
Uh-huh.
One of the issues is there's so many third
Give me
rails.
the issue. Give me the issue.
But we keep being sucked in, just like CNN and MSNBC, and everybody's being sucked in by the current situation.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's well,
He,
I suppose
by the way, pled not guilty this morning in Georgia. So he does not have to go to the arraignment hearing next week because he has waived his right to that, pleading not guilty.
Okay, can I ask you a favor? I heard what you said and it made perfect sense. He is Trump.
Yes.
So he was physically there to be indicted or booked or
He was physically there for the booking process, but
is that the arraignment? So
I
I'm
don't-
wondering, what is it that he doesn't have to be there? It's not a quiz, and I'm not challenging you. I'm just trying to understand what you said. He waived his rights to something. What thing did he?
a hearing that would have been scheduled for next week.
Is that about the date? In other words, they were all going to get together and talk about the date?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Whatever that hearing is, he has waived his right to attend it next week.
Now, when you say
So whatever they hear,
he in person,
correct.
but his lawyers will be there arguing that they need more time.
They're going to continue to argue that. That's deaf ears on that.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get, because I
don't know what the implications of waiving arraignment are. I wish I were better educated.
I do too. All I know is he's pled not guilty. So that will, just on my layman's understanding, that will, of course, pave the road to trial.
Yes, and apparently Kemp said he was not going to censure.
No. No. Why? She's doing her job. Censure her for what? She's doing her job.
It is Georgia.
It is Georgia. She's doing her job.
Oh, okay. Pleading guilty and waiving arraignment can have a number of implications.
Ooh, Proud Boy leader Joseph Biggs has been sentenced to 17 years for his January 6th crimes. You know what we call that in my circle? Joseph Biggs effed around and found out is what we call that in my circle. I thought I turned this out. There we go. Joseph Biggs effed around and found out in my circle. That's what we call that. 17 years in a federal penitentiary? Good luck with that.
All right. So pleading not guilty and waiving arraignment means you are not admitting to the charges against you, but you are also not contesting them at this time. This is a strategic decision that can have a number of implications.
Correct.
One implication is that you will not have the opportunity to present evidence or witness in your defense at the arraignment.
Right.
This is because the arraignment is simply a procedural step in which you are advised of the charges against you and enter a plea.
And
So
that's
he's
what
already
he's
entered a not guilty plea in
Yeah.
advance of that arraignment.
Yes.
Another implication of pleading not guilty and waiving arraignment is that you may be required to post bail, which my understanding is
He's
that was-
already done.
He already did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So basically he's saying I'm not going to bother to come up because everything about this is already established and we're agreed that I'm not guilty. And so I'm not going to even come in and talk about it.
Oh, we're not agreed that you're not guilty.
Well,
You're
you know what I
pleading,
mean.
you're pleading not guilty. You're pleading that, but we ain't agreeing on that.
Okay, so this is good. Governor Brian Kemp rejects calls to discipline or remove Fulton County DA Fawny Willis after Trump indictment. He quashed the idea. He quashed the idea of a special legislative session
Because she's doing her job.
You know,
You might be a
it makes sense to us, but there's a difference between possibility and probability. It was definitely possible that he could do it. That's a 0 or a 1. And I would say the probability was 50-50. I didn't know that he would just tell his own legislature, I ain't doing it, guys. I ain't doing it.
You're a Republican governor. And so we all know what comes with the job of governor. And in your review, in that role, in that job, you know whether or not your DA is committing malfeasance, and she's not committing malfeasance here. She's not overstepping her boundary. She's not committing malfeasance. This is not personal. She is applying the law where it should be applied.
You know, you just actually granted trust and faith to a Republican politician based on logic.
Yes. Which is rare for me. Which is rare
for all of us. Yeah, because we keep getting.
Yes.
But there are examples of it.
And that be one.
And they've been few and far between, so it'd be better if they were more frequent and closer to.
Yes.
One another, that is.
All yes.
Right. Sweet.
Can I give a shout out?
Sure.
We're often running on our show. Can I give a shout out?
You're the boss. Go ahead, man.
I want to give a shout out. Time's up. I want to give a shout out to my climate deniers.
Oh, well, that's a third rail right there. So you're giving a shout out to climate deniers. I like that.
This is not God's work. This is our work.
Everything is God's work, according to some people.
This is our work. If you look at no other factor here, please, I implore you, deniers, look at the science that is in front of you. What is the hurricane that just went through? Idalia?
Idalia to deny climate change.
Look at the time between Idalia was a tropical storm and became a Cat 3.
Across how long?
48 hours, maybe.
That's impressive. So what you're saying is it took all that heat out of the Gulf, sucked it up. Isn't that the first time they've had a major Cat 3 up on the Panhandle anyway?
Yes, and B, look at the science.
Well, you know what? I would be like, God decided he missed a spot in Florida. So
my God.
It's God's will. He's like,
the thing I want to talk
places, and I missed this spot.
The thing I want to talk to God about right now, God, I love you, but you fell on the house, but you didn't fall on who I needed you to fall on inside the house. I'll just leave it at that.
Remember, I just started off with third rails on top, third rails within third rails, like an enigma.
Within third rails. Yeah.
A lot of things are coming clear to me, but they're I don't know if you want to bother with them. I think a lot of what's going on can be explained. I really do.
I already know I'm not going to align with your explanation, but have a shot at it.
All right, so we need to go back to.
Thank you for letting me shout out to my climate deniers.
We need to go back to 1493.
Oh God, do we have to?
Yeah, I should have set it aside here. Where is it?
Do we have to? Do we really have to?
No, we don't have to. And if I can't find it, then we're definitely not going to have to, because I can't fucking find it. So
Well, that makes sense.
no, that's the name of that tune.
Hang on one second.
Oh, here, I found it.
I've got new neighbors who are building something in their garage. I don't know. Ellen's all worked up about it. I have no idea what they're doing, nor do I care. I have a very simple policy to live next door to Marlon Taylor. Don't tread on me, I won't tread on you.
All right, so there was a papal decree in 1452.
Is this going to be a quiz later?
And it had to do with granting the Spanish king all of the rights to do what the fuck he wanted. So the Pope said, you have the right to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all pagans whatsoever and other enemies of Christ, wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable gods whatsoever held and possessed by them, to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. That was the Pope. The Pope, the church started all of this. And what we're dealing with is we're dealing with white extremism that is being basically right at the nucleus of it is white Christian nationalism. And 2/3 of the GOP is white and Christian. So third rail within the third rail. This third rail has been around for a long time, but it absolutely completely dovetails with every single thing that we're experiencing. Thank you, God.
And I would offer, who the F is the Pope?
The Pope at that time was some other guy. You know,
But who is he? Who is he? He's a man like us.
Hold on. If
He's
you
a
say
man.
something I agree with, then you are the man. So Pope Nicholas V on June 18th, 1452.
Who is he? He's a man.
No,
he's a man like everyone else.
He speaks for God. I speak for God. So there you go.
I didn't ask you who he
all
spoke.
This started with a papal decree that
I didn't ask you who he spoke for. I asked you who he is.
But you're asking me as a logical atheist that the world looks totally different to a white...
I don't care about how the world looks at him. I don't care who he speaks for. I'm asking you, who is he?
The arraignment, you should skip your arraignment if you're going to be like, Your Honor, I don't care. I mean, you kind of do
that. I'm not saying I don't care. I asked you two simple questions.
Yes.
Who is he? Not who he speaks for. Who is he? He's a man.
He was the Pope who at that point would have been probably the only person who was known by everybody.
Who is a man?
Well, that may be true, but he still represented the pinnacle of human importance.
I represent a lot of different things. I'm a man.
Yes, I am, and I can't.
I'm a man. I'm a human being and a man who happens to be a man.
I touched this third rail, and it has managed to blow us to fucking dust. We got nothing, people. I hope you didn't come here to hear a discussion about
I know Christians and Catholics.
White Christian nationalism.
I know Christians and Catholics will get pissed at me for this, but he's a man.
We've established that he's a man, but he's not just any man. He was the most important person at the time this occurred, and the church is a very big deal.
To some.
To the group that we're talking about. We're talking
to some.
I was saying there's a third rail below the political issues we're having now, and that third rail is about It's about 800 years tall. In
Right.
other words, it just goes right back through time like a straight arrow.
Right.
And it goes to this mindset that
Created
subdue all pagans whatsoever
created by man,
and
not
reduce their persons
God.
to perpetual slavery. Okay, so let me say let's say I buy into what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. The Pope was a man, and now we've got people who are also men
Yes.
who are seeking to subdue pagans and
Yes.
reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. So
Yes.
whether it's a man or men or not is immaterial. The reality, just like climate change, is they walk among us and they want to reduce mostly your kind to perpetual slavery. They want to reduce my kind to a permanent minority because they don't want to fucking listen to people like us who are like, well, you should have empathy for other people and let them share in the wealth that we've accumulated over the past 400 years. And they're like, no, I don't
No,
think
they
so.
don't want to. They don't want
I
to
don't
do that.
want to do that.
All
So
created.
basically, I'm lumped in with you, but it's like 7 layers of hell.
Right. Right. But it's all the one common denominator in those 800 years.
Is man.
Thank you.
Right. But I'm saying it's immaterial whether the Pope was a man. The end result is the same.
It's not immaterial.
Well, it's immaterial to the reality of the current situation because it's all predicated on the word coming down from God.
Amen. Not God.
Agree.
The word is coming down from a man, not God.
You know, if you walk up to a door and you say open sesame and it doesn't open and you just stand there for the next 5 years going open sesame, it still won't open. You've established that. Just repeating yourself over and over again is not advancing anything in this. We've all agreed he's a man, but he speaks for God. And at that time, he most assuredly spoke for God. I can say that as a man.
I'm not going to get Christians pissed at me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Are you out of your mind? Christians are fucking pissed at you already.
I know, but I'm not going to make those who believe in God and worship God. I'm not going to make them more angry at me than I already have made them starting this podcast.
Well, they're going to be pissed at me because
the word,
you know how you
the,
take what do you call
word,
it? You call it a bungee cord, right? We try to get the hooks together. I'm trying to hook white nationalism to a papal.
I get that. I get that. I'm not even operating on that level. So the word that came down came from man, not God.
And it's being implemented by man.
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's man is at the center of all of it.
You know, I feel like, you know what I feel like? I feel like we're driving and for some reason, it's your like my friend did this in high school. You keep putting on the parking brake. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was silly because he was stoned. He like putting on the parking brake. So I'm driving along at 30 miles an hour, parking brake. I'm driving along at 20 miles an hour, parking brake. So we've established that they're men, but the end result is what we're dealing with now, which is men who believe that God, whether he did or not, they were told that it is their job, their divine right, and their obligation to subdue all pagans and reduce their persons to perpetual slavery.
Do you believe God told them that?
I believe the Pope told them that because I don't believe in God.
And who is the
Pope? God told anybody anywhere.
And who is the Pope?
I'm actually going to suggest this episode is done. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. You could say, let's switch subjects.
I'm talking about it.
Yeah, but you're just making statements of the obvious. And if I were listening, I would be like, why would I listen to yet another statement of the obvious? I was intrigued with this concept.
Because we need the statement of the obvious.
Okay, so this has happened in the past. I'm going to stop listening to myself. You must have some super secret kernel of wisdom that you're trying to transfer. I've experienced this in the past where I'm like,
that how we got here, what we are experiencing.
I'm listening.
We got here and are experiencing because of man, not God. God did not give that word down in 1492. Man did. Yes, he was the Pope, who is a man. Man is at the root of all evil, my friend, not God. Now, people believe in God. I respect that. I, for the most of my, especially my early years, was forced to believe in God. Um, and that belief isn't the same as what it was when I was younger.
All right. There was no major breakthrough there for me because I don't believe in God, so I would not ascribe anything to an actual God, but I would ascribe human behavior to a belief in God.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So there can be no word from God, but within the human construct, there could be the word of God, where people are like, oh, it's from God. And you're like, no, it's not. And they're like, yes, it is. No, it's not yet. And that goes on forever. But that's how you break down logic, because most of our challenges are around logic and
Yes.
concept of facts. So the only
Yes.
way to trump facts is with something that is bigger than facts and also hopefully completely
What's
unproven.
big? What's bigger than facts?
If you can't prove something, then you can't deny it. So if you can't
What?
prove faith, then you neither can you deny faith. So at the point that you make faith bigger than everything in front of you,
Which people do.
that's what I'm saying. I heard something that I really like. They said that if you look at the DNA construction and the concept of how that manifests through from chimpanzees and apes, that whites are much closer to chimpanzees than blacks are. If you look at it just with raw DNA. And that's the kind of logic I'm talking about that can be rejected on faith. Just climate change, the logic of climate change is rejected by faith. That's what I'm saying. So the disconnect is the word of God made real through faith. And the shorthand for it is eminent domain or manifest destiny, which is where it was the role of the architects of said religions.
I guess I look at things differently.
All right, I'm listening.
I tend to simplify. Everything we're experiencing has been done and created by man.
We're mutually agreed.
So
Give me more.
secondary conversations to
Give
me,
me more.
secondary conversations to that to me are pointless because man has
How can you
created.
say something is pointless when all we ever talk about on our podcast is pointless? In other words, by that definition, everything we struggle with, wrestle with, try to define, try to deal with is pointless. Because it's all fucking based on lies and behaviors that have nothing to do with empathy or logic or decency. So we're struggling with it in our daily lives and in our podcast. It occupies a big chunk of our thought. It does matter. You're the one who used to slap me around because I would say, I don't care what he says. And you're like, words matter.
Words do matter.
Yeah, well,
Which is why Christians are pissed at me if they view this podcast right now. Look,
I would love to have a Christian go wing, 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 or tap, tap, tap. I want to come on your podcast and I want to actually have a conversation with you. And I swear to God, I'd put them on an egg timer so they wouldn't be interrupted.
I would be respectful as I am with those in my circle who believe in God and who are Christian. I respect the fact that you believe that. I respect the fact that that is driven how you go through life based on the word of God. I respect all of that.
What does respect mean?
I respect that that's your world, your choice.
I don't respect your right to make policy on faith.
No, that's different.
In a secular society.
That's different. I respect your right to believe what you want to believe. I don't respect your right to take your belief to enact policy.
Got it. So I'm trying to put the boundaries on respect. You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
In your own mind.
Yes.
this nation is a secular nation, which purposely, very smart Christians are like, religion is a fucking mess. We believe in God. However, we're going to set up a nation of laws and we're going to separate church and state. And
Correct.
so I don't respect when this stuff starts to bleed over.
Yes. Yes.
And they're attempting to make policy based on faith. I don't respect that. Now, what's interesting is that that's a window into why conservatives are so fucking pissed at libtards, because we make policy on stuff that is not secular. It's based on emotion or opinion or things that don't really have a basis.
I'd say in large part it's based on fact and data and science.
No, there are a lot of things that libtards want to
What
do.
What is the Green Energy Initiative based on?
The green.
It's not based on emotion. It's not based on libtard progressiveness. It's based on the fact that our planet is being destroyed by us.
Yes, it is. If you look at the Green Initiative, it is very, very poorly constructed. The first of which,
not going to argue that. I asked you what it's based on.
The first thing that a libtard will do is exactly what a conservative does. So a maggot does this and libtards do this. They take a pole position and they don't entertain nuance. So let me give you an example. Let me just complete this thought.
Okay.
We talk about electrifying all of our vehicles. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to fucking happen. It's not
happening everywhere. I knew I should have.
No, you don't understand.
I knew I should have grabbed that data point. It's happening in every country around the world except here.
No, they're just making laws that say by 2030. It's not happening anywhere.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I knew I should have grabbed that data point. I saw it. And I saw the graph.
There's not enough lithium. There's not enough precious metals to
I knew it. I saw it. And I knew I should have grabbed that data point graph bar because the United States was at the bottom where other countries are starting to adopt. And I said, I know this is
they are adopting, but this concept that we can replace. And there are other places that are much worse than a contemporary vehicle. The emissions from our Subaru Impreza approach zero. And it's gasoline powered.
Okay.
Toyota recognizes this. Everybody's been giving Toyota a hard time because the Toyota, what do they know about cars? Has said, listen, you're not going to be able to electrify all this crap. We'll build hybrids and we'll take advantage of the technology, but we're not going to be delivering a massive fleet of electronic vehicles because it's a pig in a poke. It ain't going to happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
We are seeing. You say we'll see.
We just started. Jesus Christ, the journey just started.
And there are other things that are much more important. Okay, so
there's nothing more important than reducing emissions.
Yeah, but you have to do it in a disciplined fashion, and libtards are not doing that. They're not being honest.
We just started.
We just started being dishonest. That is a true statement. Okay, what's the number one? What is the most important energy source?
The sun, solar.
The most important energy source that we should be marshaling immediately is nuclear. But we don't like nuclear because it's got radioactive characteristics.
There's byproducts to nuclear energy.
Yeah, that's
solar.
True. But the point
solar
is,
energy.
Nuclear.
Solar energy to me. Solar energy to me
bankrupt as a green.
Solar energy to me
is much consumption. Do you realize how much it takes to water an almond? Do you understand how much it takes to create
solar energy?
All of these things are lies, and they cannot scale.
Solar energy to me is far more important than nuclear.
Solar energy requires batteries. There's this thing that you may or may not be factoring in called nighttime. The issue with solar energy is very simple and straightforward. During the day, it's returning energy to
yes,
it's to the system.
Yes.
But at night, it's off, and the energy has to be held somewhere. Now, there are advances being made, but most of those advances
Yes.
are not being made with batteries. They're being made with materials to hold heat, to generate steam, to turn turbines. So they
That's
heat
it.
it up during the day and then it generates steam at night. But it's not a battery and it doesn't use precious metals. All these adaptations are necessary because there's not enough material to support what libtards say they want to do.
Is that not by the sheer definition innovation, advancement? Yes.
Completed.
And if we continue,
issue
if
relates
we
to
continue,
extreme positions on the left and the right. And you're talking about climate change.
yes,
Did you know that they materially affected climate change because they forced all of the tankers and all of the seagoing vessels to take sulfur out of their fuel? Do you realize it has contributed materially to global warming?
I do now, since you mentioned it. What does that have to do with
Sulfur was going up into the atmosphere and it was a pollutant, but it was also particulate matter that substantially reduced the amount of sunlight that was hitting the earth. And it had the benefit of being distributed by ships, which essentially traveled in a lattice fashion across the oceans. So this is an example of things where a libtard would be like, well, we probably shanked that one. In other words, there's no honesty in anybody's dialogue. Nobody's being honest. And that's why
I don't accept. No, no. There's no way I'm accepting that statement.
Yes, but are there
There's no
things
way I'm accepting that statement, because here's one thing that we're being honest about.
Okay.
The planet is fucking warming year over year.
It is, and we really need to have everybody pitching in to make policy. And it's not happening. And the reason it's not happening is because the extreme positions taken by everybody.
Not everybody. Not everybody. I equate this very much to the gun issue. There are those who are making policy who are beholden to gas and oil, and will always be beholden to gas and oil money. Same thing with the guns and the NRA. Same thing, by the way, shout out to President Joe Biden. Same thing with drugs. People making policy that are beholden to the pharmaceutical companies. We can get where we want to go. We have to put the right people in place to help us get there.
Yeah, but the thing is that the majority of people want things to stay the way they are.
No.
Yes.
No.
You go to a person and you say, what do you set the temperature to in your house?
No.
What do you set the AC to in your house?
And I'll give you the gun example is Exhibit A.
I'm coming after you, bitch. I'm coming after you right now. What do you set the temperature to?
I'll give you the gun example is Exhibit A. 75% of the people in this country want reform.
Marlon, you put your AC in the 60s. You are contributing to climate change. Ours never goes below 73. So I'm demanding that you change your behavior. I will not change their personal behavior.
But I recycle where you don't, so that balances that out.
We recycle. My wife makes me recycle every fucking thing: cardboard, plastic, glass.
Does every neighbor you have do that? No.
Our town supports recycling. They pick up recycling. We set it at the front and they pick it up and carry it away.
So does mine. But does your neighbor recycle everything you should be recycling?
Oh, I love this. Let's talk about this. I want to talk about this. Let's talk about recycling. You help me out here. You're helping me make my point. All of the recycling is not being recycled. And what is being recycled, it's being done in an unsafe and toxic fashion by the poorest people on the surface of the planet. It's another fucking lie. So many things that we're doing are fucking lies. And you're like, well, why is that? Because we came up with recycling instead of using paper. We really like those plastic. We don't want our milk in a carton. We want it in plastic. That's the problem, is nobody's willing to change, and they're all like, yeah, I'm a goody two shoes, I'm recycling this shit.
That's not true.
The reason
That's
you're
not true, dude.
recycling is
That's
to
not
avoid
true, dude.
actually making
That's
changes.
not true. That's not true. That's not true. It's not true.
So fucking true.
It's
People are
not. No,
so
it
ignorant about
isn't.
their
No, it
footprint,
isn't. No, it
and
isn't. You're
nobody's telling
wrong.
them exactly what's going on.
You're wrong,
Anyway,
JD. You're wrong.
libtards,
You're wrong.
libtards are
You're
part of the
wrong.
problem.
You're wrong. You're
I'm a
wrong. You're
libtard, by
wrong.
the way.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're a libtard with an incorrect view.
On which?
Everything you just said.
All right,
Everything you just said.
everything.
I guarantee you, and I'm going to ask people
Oh, you're
who
going to
view
guarantee me something. I love that.
people
Okay.
who view this podcast, if you get this far in the podcast, please drop a comment and tell me if you are doing everything you can with respect to recycling to help reduce waste and emissions in this planet. I guarantee you people are saying
Nobody's doing everything
JD
they
is
can do.
wrong. JD is wrong.
Nobody's
Marlon,
doing everything.
that's
There are
exactly
a
what
few
they're going to
people,
say.
but you can tell who they are because they're wearing Birkenstocks and they don't wear any makeup, and they have understood this and they commit to that life.
Just because I wear makeup doesn't mean I'm not committed to a safe and healthy planet. Come on, stop.
All right, so here's the lie.
Making yourself stand
Here's
bad.
the lie. The percentage of recycling that is actually recycled varies depending on the material in the country. However, according to the World Economic Forum, the global average recycling rate is 15%. That means 85% of all recyclable materials end up in landfills or incinerators.
Yes.
So if you're recycling, you're like, I'm a good person because I'm recycling. You're a fucking ignorant moron, even if you're a libtard. You're trying to do the right thing, but nobody actually is willing to make a fucking fundamental change in their own personal lifestyle. You still haven't told me what
You're wrong. You're wrong about that. You're wrong.
The recycling rate, this is according to the World Economic Forum, the recycling rate for plastic is even lower at 9%.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. I'm saying the World Economic Forum, who gives a shit about climate change and these subjects, is saying we're at the 15% mark.
So everybody on the planet isn't doing what they should be doing with respect to recycling. You're wrong.
It's been proven conclusively because 85% of our stuff that could be recycled is going into landfills.
You're fucking wrong. You're wrong. They're wrong.
But I'm not wrong.
Yes,
the recycling is immaterial. We need to be using different materials. There should not
be a different discussion.
Fucking piece
that's
of
that's a different.
There should never be another single bottle of water.
That is a different discussion.
Going into emergencies.
That is a different discussion.
I'm agreeing with you, but you're making it a different discussion. I'm saying it's part of the same overarching lie. The whole American diet is based on a lie. Everything we do is based on a lie. And individuals are willfully ignorant. It's not exclusive to maggots. It is a human characteristic, and it is the reason none of this shit changes. We keep blaming maggots, but we can't change things. We send people to Congress. They're in the majority. They were in the majority during the Obama and the Biden administrations. They didn't get any fucking gun reform.
Let me help you. House A, Marlon lives in House A. In House A,
what's the AC temperature set to in House A?
In House A, they recycle every piece of waste that is recyclable.
You're saying that's meaningful, but you're not understanding the actual.
You're not even letting me make the point.
Okay.
House A, Marlon fucking recycles everything that is recyclable. He does it 100%. House B has Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo doesn't recycle anything. Everything goes into the landfill. That's how we get to the 85%. We have one house that is 100%, and we have one house that's 0 or 5, which is how we get to the 85, and then a couple of other houses make up the other 85 total percent. You have people who are 100% committed to doing the right thing. You cannot say all.
All right. I thought you just gave an excellent example. What you're doing, though, is you're saying that it's only at the point of introduction to the system that these things are not happening, and the 1585 split is occurring at the houses. No, it's occurring with the lying corporations who are pretending to recycle. In other words,
yes, that's part
right,
of
but
it
the net
too. That's
result
part
is
of it too.
still everything.
But if the individual does his or her part, then it's on the corporation for not doing their part.
You know what?
We're doing our part.
I think that's an excellent point, but the net result is still the same as a
It's still the
society, which
same,
is
but where do you
85% is going into the landfill.
it's still the same. The net result is the same, but where do you put that blame? It's not on the individual, it's on the
I'm putting it
corporation.
on your neighbor. I'm starting there, and then I'm putting it on
The
the
corporation.
rest of us and the way we handle things. The
Yes.
first thing is you shouldn't have that much shit to recycle,
Why shouldn't I?
because we shouldn't be using so many single-use products,
Why shouldn't we?
because it's fucking unnecessary. Have you ever
No,
met
it isn't. No, it isn't.
have you ever met coated containers for your food? Have you ever met coated cartons for your milk and your drinks? The reason we don't do it is, from a marketing perspective, it is not nearly as attractive as being able to see the product. This is a huge fucking problem.
That's marketing. That's marketing.
Oh, yeah, it's marketing. That's the point I'm making. We're making all decisions based on things that are wrong. We're not doing the right things anywhere.
At the individual level, we are. Given what we have to
Let me
work
tell you
with.
what an individual should do. An individual should not buy a product in a single-use plastic container. I cannot tell you the last time
So I
I
should
purchased.
buy.
Let me finish. I
should
cannot tell you the last time I purchased a single-use
I
bottle of
shouldn't
water.
buy mustard.
There's no fucking way I'm going to buy a single-use
I
bottle of
shouldn't
water.
buy mustard for my hot dogs. I like mustard on hot dogs.
The mustard needs to be put in alternate packaging.
I buy mustard for my hot dogs because I like mustard on my hot dogs.
I
So
understand.
you're telling me I shouldn't buy
And
mustard
we
for my
need to,
hot dogs
if we're so fucking ingenious, we should be able to figure out an alternative to all of
until
the
we
little
figure
plastic
out
bottles.
that alternative.
Oh, we
What
could
is
figure it out now if we were willing to. This is the point I make.
until
I'm saying all of us are lying to ourselves and to
no, we're
each
not.
other.
No, we're not. No, we're
Climate
not.
change is the
No, we're not.
aggregate of all of these lies and pretenses.
Marlon shouldn't buy this single-use cup to have his berry juice, right?
Fucking A,
But
absolutely.
I bought it. So what am I going to do with this cup when I'm done
You're
with it?
going to recycle it and feel better about yourself, even though plastics are very rarely recycled, less than 10%.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
I'm talking about
Whose fault?
as a
Answer the
society.
question. Whose fault is that?
It's our fault as
No,
intelligent
no,
human beings
no,
for
no,
clinging.
no,
to
no, 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 no. Marlon went to Starbucks. Marlon bought a strawberry berry drink and it came in a plastic cup. Marlon drank the fucking drink on his podcast. When he was done with it, he put it in his recycle bin. He then put the recycle bin on the curb to be picked up. Once you pick it up, if you don't deliver it to the recycle plant and put it in the landfill instead of the recycle plant, that's on that corporation, not Marlon.
And that is why we don't have gun control. We have climate issues. Our healthcare sucks. Our education is going into crapper. It's because of what you just said. You know, my responsibility for this ends at the curb.
You cannot say
what I wanted to do, and I got it to the curb. Fuck the rest.
I'm
telling you, in aggregate, libtards and maggots, all of us are contributing to this because we're making the wrong decisions about everything, and they're all selfish.
You're wrong.
I saw something that was positive. I got something that's positive.
The
square footage of houses is starting to come back down.
You are wrong. You are wrong. You could not be more wrong.
Being built, the new ones, they're actually starting to make them smaller.
You could
not by much.
you could not be more incorrect. Now, where I will
Conclusive evidence, I could be more incorrect on
where I will
excessive
lay
issue.
where I will lay blame at the individual level is through electing people who are not supporting and embracing the
Okay
initiative
with that.
that we have.
All right, so
But
we
at
just
the
clicked. We
individual
just connected the
level,
bungee cord.
there are people who are doing the right thing. So you cannot,
Fine, but it's not getting us where we need to go.
but that's not the individual's fault. That's the corporation's fault.
You gave the example of an individual's fault. You do something I really like. One of the things I really like is you used to do it during COVID, and I thought it was highly appropriate. You're like, if you choose not to take the vaccine and you die,
Yeah,
no
that's on
thoughts,
you. That's on
no
you.
regrets. And that's what I'm talking about. And everybody's walking around whining about stuff, but we're not earning a respite from our own behavior through our behavior. And it's not exclusively the purview.
Some of us are.
Any human being in Western civilization, if you put a stethoscope or an X-ray on them, you're going to be like, well, that's an indulgence. That's an indulgence. That's an indulgence.
All I'm saying to you, JD, is you cannot say all. Some of us are.
I can say all. Every single person.
No, you can't.
Every single person is taking allowances, and it's just a matter of degree.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't. Some are more. Some are more.
I said it's a matter of degree, and you're about to just reinforce what I said. Yes, some are more. But I'm saying every human being is culpable, and I can prove it. You know how? Because every human being is being affected by it. So that proves their culpability. If they're in it, then clearly they're being affected by it. And if they're being affected by it, then clearly there's some aspect of their existence that's contributing to it.
Yes,
benign or active,
every single human being on this planet is contributing to what we are doing to our climate.
I just said that.
Some
busted my ass about it.
Some more than others.
I said by degree, you busted my ass. We're in agreement again.
Some are well out in front of trying to reduce the impact on our climate.
But a lot of people are doing what they call greenwashing. And that's why ESG has gone in the crapper. That's why a lot of these initiatives have gone in the crapper, because they've been discovered to be marketing initiatives that have no basis in fact. Zero, zip, not on yet.
That might be true. And then when that happens, you have to understand, okay, that person was not the right person to lead that initiative, and you put someone in who is better qualified, equipped, or committed to doing it.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, we can't, because we're evenly distributed. There are 40% of them and 60% of us, but 80% of them vote and 50% of us vote, which is an even split.
Well, when the planet burns up, when the next Cat 4 hits the panhandle of Florida.
Burn, baby, burn. Drown, baby, drown.
We're going to be up here. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay up here in the Pacific Northwest, because we are actually delivering on our initiatives up here in the Pacific Northwest, because we understand the importance of the environment that we're blessed to live in, like the Columbia River behind me over my shoulder. So we'll continue to do our part. And if you don't do your part, Florida, that's on you.
I'm not going to argue that. I was just
can't be argued.
saying that if you go back to 1452, you can see the origin of all of this fucking,
which came from man,
nonsense, which is to subjugate other humans, subjugate everything. It's
which came from man.
We're agreed. We're agreed.
It took a long time to get there. It took an hour to get there.
I want to do a shout out.
Oh, first, I think.
It happened again. It happened again. You and I are in complete agreement, and yet we argue about everything. So I want to do a shout out to you. I love it. We're philosophically aligned, and we want the same things, and yet we can argue about it.
We can argue
Actually,
about it.
this is probably a good time to take us out.
No, you wanted to do a shout out.
I just did. I just shouted out to you and I.
Oh, that's a great shout out. Great shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have another show tomorrow before we go into the Labor Day weekend.
Well, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about divorce? You want to talk about how
Now I want to talk about
between 54 and 65, the divorce rate has gone up 6 times, and after 65, it's gone up 10 times. Do you want to talk about gray divorce?
yeah,
Want to talk about going back to work?
because I think historically, once men reach
You want to talk about
50,
private schools?
I think once men reach 50, 60, there's this, I don't know, there's this switch that goes off inside them that they have to have a younger, prettier, more booksome.
They ain't gonna get them.
Well, unless they have money, which I never understood, which is why my relationship is 21 years and counting, because no one can replace what I have. I don't care how young you are, how beautiful you are. Please, Marlon's very happy, and I just, connecting with it. It's funny we're having this as we close out, because as you may be aware, there's a new, I guess, season or whatever of The Bachelor. This guy, they called him the Golden Bachelor because he's like 64, 65 or something like that.
I assume he's a widower.
I don't know what he is. All I know is when I saw it, I was like, oh, hell, I should go on that show, honey. And she was like, what are you going to talk about? What interest do you have that would align with another female
I'm
half
not
your
shaking my
age?
head for you. I'm shaking my
half
head.
half your age. I'm like, absolutely nothing. I would have nothing in common. First of all, she's like, the first challenge you would have is you would actually have to communicate with these women. And we know you're not going to do that because you don't talk to people.
He was being sarcastic.
Oh, no, she wasn't. Yeah,
You
I'd
talk
bring
to
her on
everybody.
camera right now. She'd be like, oh, no,
You talk to everybody.
you would think.
You don't talk to everybody? Every time I go out, I meet somebody.
I talk to everybody in my grocery store.
Everywhere I go, I meet people.
Yeah.
My wife
Yeah.
is like, what the hell is wrong with you?
I know. That's why she hates grocery shopping with me, because it takes forever. He's like, everybody who works in that grocery store has to talk to him. So that's his social fulfillment hour when we go to the grocery store. When he comes out of there, he's not going to talk to another human being until he talks to JD or until he goes back to the grocery store.
Well, do me a favor. Try to think of a good third rail tomorrow that is a good third. They're all good third rails.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, we touched on the Mount Vesuvius of third rails with religion today. That's why Christians hate me right now. But
no, they would love you.
They hate
on
me.
to their raggedy asses.
They hate me. They would hate me. They would hate what I said today.
I don't dislike Christians. I dislike.
I love and respect
in secular society.
I love and respect, like we said earlier. I love and
have a blast. Believe in God.
Yes, and in the same token,
in other words, have any opinion you want. Just keep it out of fucking policy. That's all.
Keep it out of policy. I would hope that you respect my position, and I've stated my position several times since I became a young adult. Me and God have an understanding. I don't go in his house on Sunday. He doesn't go in my house on Sunday.
Let me give you an example. Because to me, this was actually a really good example. And then information come out about it after the fact, but that's immaterial. The original concept was a gay couple went to a business and asked them to make a cake. Remember that one?
Right. Yep. Right.
And then that went all the way to, I guess, the fucking Supreme Court.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, I agree with the business. A business should be able to say, no. A private business frequently will be like, I'm not going to do that. There's not enough profit in it. I don't want to deal with this customer. It's too far away. My crew can't make it that far. I'm busy with other things. So any business is allowed to turn down any opportunity that it wants to because it's a free enterprise.
But it shouldn't be allowed to do that based on your gender.
Why not? Why the fuck?
Because that's prejudicing. That's racism.
Yeah, but that would be true if you were a public
No,
service.
that's
No,
not.
my thought. I would agree with you completely if that was a public service that is being
It's a
funded by
business.
taxpayers
It's
and
a
is
business.
architected to be a secular service available to all. But if I go into town, I can go to a dozen different places to get a cake. And if one of them says, I don't want to make a cake for you, and you're like, and I'm like, why? And they're like,
Is that
I have
business?
to give you a reason. I don't want to, or let me
Is that
rephrase. It's
is
not that
that
I don't want to, sir. It's that oh, we're too busy. I
is
would
that
walk out, and that would be the last of it.
is that business protected by the local fire department that supports it? Is it protected by the local police department that supports it?
I believe we call that a reach around. That it has absolutely. It is
I
not
asked a very
a
simple
private business.
I
Is a
asked
private
a
business.
very simple fucking question.
All right, so
Is it
I'm going to use your
supported?
logic. I'm going to use your logic. If somebody comes to your house, right, and they say, "I want you to
I'm
bake a
not a
cake,"
business. I'm
no,
not
I'm
a
going to use your logic. I want you to bake a cake for this gun group. You're like, I'm not
I'm
going to
not a
bake a cake for your
business.
gun
I'm
group.
not a
You're going to go like,
business.
"Are
I'm not
you
a
protected
business.
by the
I'm not
fire
a
department?"
business. I'm
It's a
not a
stupid fucking
business.
logic.
I'm not a
It doesn't work.
business. I'm not a business. I
You're
am
not
not a
taking us
business in
out.
my house. I
You're
am
not
not
taking us
a
out very well.
business in my house. I'm not a business. You are a business. Your business is supported via my tax dollars by the fire department, by
Did
the
you get
police
your hair
department.
cut at Hair Cuttery?
No,
Where did you go?
I cut my own hair.
No, when you were young, you went to what?
I went to a barbershop,
What kind?
a local barbershop.
Yeah, I'm going to sue your fucking ass because I'm Hair Cuttery and you're not coming to my barbershop because you'd rather be with your own kind. See, this is a slippery motherfucking slope.
About what the fuck?
People can make decisions and it doesn't change the decision if it's based on whether they're gay or not.
You should let this go. You should let this go. Because of the reason I just gave you. My fucking tax dollars, should your bakery catch on fire baking that
That's
cake
a reach around.
for a straight couple, my tax dollars.
If I go to the county and I say I want to get a driver's license, and they said, no, we're not going to give you a driver's license because you're black.
This is a MAGA argument.
That
I can't have it. I can't. This is a MAGA argument. I can't have it. This is a MAGA argument. I can't have it. I can't have it.
It's not a MAGA argument. It's
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
human discrimination argument, and we're all allowed to discriminate and be prejudiced.
As individuals.
Yes, but if you have a private business that you own, it's your fucking business.
Your business is alive and supported via my tax dollars.
The fuck it is. It is absolutely unsupported by your tax dollars. It's supported by my tax dollars.
Do my tax dollars pay for your fire?
The business is paying tax dollars. Your tax dollars are not involved.
Does my tax dollar pay for your
Whatever your question is, the answer is no.
Yes, it does.
You're wrong. I'm gonna pull a Marlon on you. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Then I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong.
I'm gonna do it right-handed. You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong.
I thought you were taking us out. Why can't you take us out?
I'm taking us out because you're wrong. We're
God, you suck at taking us out.
I know, because the argument just wants to keep going. We'll pick this up. We'll pick this up. We'll grab another third rail because you're wrong on this one. We'll grab another third rail. We have plenty to choose from to take us into the Labor Day weekend. And we'll pick it up from there.
All right, bud.
We're on. What are we on? We're on Twitter because his mama named him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter. I got so many feedback on X and how many people, even my better half. She's like, that is the stupidest name and logo I've ever seen, and I'm like, I could care less.
Well, power to him. He got one of the letters of the alphabet. .com, X.com.
So happy for him. He's such a genius. We'll talk about him and Salami Boy, but we're on. I got more on Salami Boy. I got to get to. We're on Twitter because his mama named him Twitter. We're on Spoutable, which we're still trying to. I think we're gaining some traction on Spoutable. We got some people who are liking the fact that we put our stuff up there. And our YouTube channel, First World Third Rails. Find us, like us, hate us, talk to us, but most importantly, please subscribe to us. Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
We'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow with my recycled berry drink.
Bye.
Bye-bye, man.